Hello, I think we're live. How's everybody doing out there? All across the world, the globe, on this fine Sunday. Just sort of got back from vacation, had a great time with family. Also had a chance to go check out Birds of Prey. One of the things I wanted to talk about on this episode, as well as the controversial Batsuit coming up in Robert Pattinson's The Batman. Lots to talk about on the DC side of things. Not so much in other news, really. But, so Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. However the hell you want to talk about this movie. Movie theaters have started to kind of rebrand this or retitle it. Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, or something like that. Hasn't done well at the box office. I wasn't terribly excited for this movie, but I was still kind of looking forward to it. But I just didn't really have a chance to go out to the theater the last 2 weeks or so. So I just kind of pushed it off. And it didn't help that the movie was kind of getting, I don't know, somewhat positive to mixed reviews, I suppose, and it didn't do well at the box office. But I'm always a fan of, at least I tend to be a fan of the DC movies for the most part, aside from Justice League, if you want to call it that. But this movie, it's weird because I don't really know anything about the Birds of Prey. I think it's Huntress, Black Canary, and Oracle, or Batwoman, Batgirl. It's one of them. But from what I've read is that this isn't really a Birds of Prey movie, or could it be setting up Birds of Prey? Possibly, but this movie hardly features these side characters or supporting characters like Huntress and Black Canary at all. I mean, they have a little bit of story throughout this film, but it's really this movie should have been branded from the get-go Harley Quinn : Birds of Prey or whatever. This is right from the beginning. This is a Harley Quinn movie. So it's just dumb that Warner Brothers would decide to brand it Birds of Prey. And I mean, even if you Google Birds of Prey, you're going to get bird watching shit or eagles and hawks and stuff like that. It's even bad SEO. I mean, for those of you that know what I'm talking about, that's just the searchability of that title is it's poor. But if you search Harley Quinn, you're gonna get stuff with Margot Robbie or the DC Universe Harley Quinn show that's out right now. But yeah, this movie it's right now for DC, it's almost they're in a tonal shift, especially in this Walter Hamada era. But especially with this tone, it carries sort of the same kind of Suicide Squad tone. The kind of campy, violent, bright colors kind of vibe. The story, I wasn't really interested in the story at all. And I'm going to get into some spoilers here, but all the stuff with, I think it's Renee Montoya, the detective or cop. I did not care for any of the stuff with her. I didn't even think her character really needed to be in the movie at all. But I will say, some of the stronger kind of backstory stuff, I really liked the stuff with Huntress. I thought that was really cool with all the mob and her being a 10 or 12-year-old girl surviving this mass execution in her living room with surrounded by all of her family who get gunned down by these other mobsters, going off to Sicily or wherever she went to and training to be this ultimate kind of executioner, wanting revenge. I thought all that stuff was really good, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead was awesome as Huntress. And I really wanted more of that. As far as like Black Canary, I didn't think her character was one of the stronger points. She was just kind of like there. And even like the Black Canary like power, that's like used one time in the third act. I thought that was kind of a missed opportunity. So I don't know, maybe that's just me, but when I imagine the character of Black Canary being in a DC movie, especially like one of the main supporting characters, I'd expect them to use the power of like her voice a lot more. But it's whatever. And I guess like is Margot Robbie, like if you liked her in Suicide Squad, you're gonna like her in Birds of Prey. So I mean, you're gonna get what you expect as far as that goes. But one character I was really looking forward to, especially with the actor they got, was Black Mask with Ewan McGregor. I love Ewan McGregor. Ever since I saw him in The Phantom Menace, you know, he's been in a lot of great stuff. And I'm definitely excited for this Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus. But when they announced that Black Mask was going to be the villain and then Ewan McGregor was going to be playing this guy, I was really excited. I know Black Mask from the Arkham Asylum games. I think he was also in, you know, the Batman animated series as one of the kind of like the villains on that show. But man, this is such a weird interpretation of this character. And they tried to do some stuff where he's like, he has all these like collectibles, like these African or like Amazonian like shrunken heads, stuff like that. They tried to build a little bit of like backstory with him liking that stuff and like translating it into like why he actually has a mask. But just as far as like his character's personality, man, I just thought it was just weird and kind of like, I don't know what they were going for. And his little like sidekick buddy, like I didn't really care for that guy. He was like trying to be this like crazy lunatic. And I don't know. I just did not really buy into the whole Black Mask and Victor Zsasz stuff. I just didn't really care for it. But I mean, the overall movie, it has some cool action beats and stuff like that. And like, I feel like once Harley Quinn started, once she, I guess, gets oh, what's the word? I can't even think of it. She gets a price put on her head by Black Mask. She has to get the girl who swallowed this diamond. Once that happens, that's kind of like the middle of the movie. I thought the film started to really get rolling and things started to pick up and I started liking it a bit more. But like the first act where she's like separated from Joker and I just did not care for that stuff. And it's just like the story wasn't that interesting. But once these characters start coming together and, you know, the third act where it takes place on, what is it? It's the amusement park, the abandoned amusement park. We've seen that featured in Batman, the animated series and all sorts of stuff. But I thought that was really cool. And that's the thing about like DC. You will never see a Marvel Studios movie just look like what was in Birds of Prey at the end of the movie. Just sure, you'll get psychedelic stuff with like Doctor Strange and I don't know, some other characters where it's maybe some weird stuff with like Thor, but just the imagery in that third act in Birds of Prey was just like, I absolutely loved that. Just the dark, gritty kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of, I won't say it necessarily comes from the Tim Burton Batman stuff, but I don't know if he was the one that fully created that stuff for Batman. Like, I'm not sure if you go into like the 60s and 70s, like Batman comics, like that stuff may have already been featured, but just that kind of like gothic vibe. I really dug that in Birds of Prey. Even I think I said that I was going to be talking spoilers in this, but even in the third act, when Harley Quinn's trying to track down Black Mask after he's captured Cassandra Cain, and they're going off onto the pier, and there's just these like gothic looking statues with just this like massive amount of fog on the pier. It just looked like something out of like a nightmare or horror movie. And I just loved that about it. Like, I feel like DC is always really, they always give their creators visual freedom, whether it's Zack Snyder. I think Kathy Yan was the director on this one. Even David Ayer on Suicide Squad. I felt like he, like, visually it seemed like he had a lot of freedom to sort of, I don't know, create the look of the movie he wanted. Maybe not necessarily the story or, the editing, all that stuff. We know that was kind of botched for him, but just the look of this movie, I will say, is probably one of my favorite parts about it. And even just the cinematography. Pardon me, I gotta take a swig here. Even just like the cinematography on the street, all that stuff looks great, especially at nighttime. With like, there's one shot with I think it's Harley Quinn and Cassandra Cain walking into the distance, and there's like a wet pavement, and then the city in the background. I thought that looked great, man. But yeah, Birds of Prey, I thought the movie was all right. Some of the action beats felt repetitive. The connections to Suicide Squad or the greater DC universe. There's one where Harley Quinn's just walking in the police department or the prison, and you see like a wanted poster of Captain Boomerang, and she's like, "Hey, I know that guy." So hopefully we see him return in the Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I actually liked Jai Courtney's Captain Boomerang, so let's hope he has a decent role in that film. But other than that, I mean, there's really hardly any connections to the DCEU or, I mean, even like Suicide Squad itself, as far as like Harley Quinn and the Joker. I mean, like, Jared Leto's not in this movie. I don't think there's really any sort of connection. They don't really reference kind of like the events of Suicide Squad, other than she says like she got arrested by the Batman, broke out of prison. There's a little bit, but like this movie is pretty much on its own, which it gives the writers and directors the creative freedom that they probably wanted. But I don't know. It's just, I want those rewarding kind of tie-ins, I mean, even just going back to Suicide Squad, having Ben Affleck's Batman in like the first third of that movie, where he has a connection with Deadshot. He arrests Deadshot in front of his daughter. I thought that drove a really nice emotional impact. Then you also had Batman chasing Harley Quinn and the Joker, and then he arrests Harley Quinn. I thought that stuff was really good. And even the post-credit scene with Bruce Wayne and Amanda Waller, I thought that stuff was great. So it's just like the DC right now as a whole, they're just kind of like doing things individually and not sort of threading this creative tissue that we've seen like Marvel Studios do with their films, which is fine. Like, just give me good movies. But like, this movie is just kind of, I don't know. I just felt it was kind of mediocre in some parts. I thought all the actors did a fine job with what they had, but I was really hoping for more with like Black Mask. and just the whole Diamond kind of storyline, and Detective Montoya and Cassandra Cain. Like, I don't know. It's just I just felt like a story we've seen before, you know, like a 1995 like cop movie. So I don't know. I guess what's that one movie? Blue Streak? It kind of felt a little bit like Blue Streak in a way. Maybe just a few similarities, but anyway, I guess we can move on to Robert Pattinson's Batsuit that's been leaking all over the internet, which is kind of funny. So yeah, people are kind of upset about this Batsuit, and the test footage that Matt Reeves released, I think, a week ago at this point, I thought it looked damn good, man. I thought it looked like Dracula, or I don't know. Oh, sorry, I don't have my window pulled up. Man, I thought that test footage that Matt Reeves dropped was pretty awesome, despite like how hard it was to see at times. But it is what it is. But like, I just love the kind of like the shoulder plating, the metal bat logo on the chest, and even like down by the chiseled kind of like rib plates, I guess. I think those just look badass. But here we're able to see kind of like the gauntlets. Now, I don't know if those are like arrows or what those are, but I like the look of them. Now, we get definitely a lot better look at the cowl, and we see the ears this time. And I will say, I didn't necessarily like the nose piece on the cowl the first time I saw it, and I still think it looks a little bit weird here. And even in this shot where they're like shooting in Glasgow in Scotland, and this is obviously one of the stunt guys on this motorcycle here, but like the nose and the eyes, like where the goggles are, they just look a little bit weird, as well as kind of like I don't know, just the way the ears form to the helmet, and even kind of like the forehead piece. It just, I guess we're able to see that these are like separate pieces that have been attached, where in the past it's been like all one kind of like rubber mask, or even like Christian Bale's, which is felt more like made out of like carbon fiber. It seemed like it was all one piece, but here it's like, I guess in the test footage that we saw, you could see like the stitching around the nose and maybe like by the eyes and stuff. Like he may have actually made it, or Alfred made it. I'm not quite sure, but on here, you know, you can see all of his like his bat belt with all of his like gadgets and stuff. And there's some other photos out there, but like the pants he's wearing are like tactical like pants, like military sort of pants. They kind of look a little bit weird when you see him like standing. Like there's some like slack in him, and it looks like he's actually just wearing pants with like boots and straps around his legs, like pants you could go buy at like Dick's Sporting Goods at the mall. So I don't know. It's just it's a little bit weird. They're trying to do their own thing, I suppose. You know, like, why would they want to try and repeat the Ben Affleck suit when this is a different iteration of Batman? You know, you can't just recycle the same shit. I mean, George Clooney, I guess he did have sort of the same suit as Val Kilmer a little bit. But the interesting thing about that, I guess you could say, is that they all had the same Alfred, from the Michael Keaton Batman movies to George Clooney. So maybe those are sort of actual sequels. I don't think they've ever came out and said whether they are or not, but it is what it is. But like, there's obviously people that don't like this, but you're not doing yourself a favor when you start posting shit on Twitter, like a photo of the Robert Pattinson Batman next to the Ben Affleck one. It's just like, what's the point of comparing? And these are just behind the scenes set photos we're seeing of Robert Pattinson's suit. Like once it's in like proper lighting and in the actual camera that we're seeing the movie in, where this is just like it's like a paparazzi photo of like some guy behind a shrubbery 300 feet away with like a telescopic like lens. So there's no reason to get up in arms about this whole thing. So just sit back and relax and let this damn movie come out with without criticizing it, for Christ's sake. But I mean, I have some criticisms about the costume, and I definitely don't think like the goggles or like the eyebrows to the ears, like there's some aspect up here that doesn't necessarily look right. But the cape, I guess we didn't even see the cape in that photo, but in the test footage shot, like just the way the cape comes up, it's like Dracula, or I guess Gotham by Gaslight. Maybe there's some visual stuff from that they pulled. I really like that stuff, and I'm looking forward to that. But I'm not gonna shit on this thing before it even really gets going, or before I actually even get a good look at what it's gonna look like in context. So I think that's it, though. I mean, most of what I wanted to talk about was DC related or Batman related. There's not much news out there as far as what's in theaters or anything like that. I guess we could check and see what's on what's happening in the news. Yeah, not much going on. I guess it's that time of year. In the next like month or two, we'll start to get some good movies coming out. March is like the new start of summer movies. The Way Back with Ben Affleck, I'm really looking forward to that one. So let's hope that movie's good. But yeah, that's really all I got. It's kind of all I wanted to talk about was Birds of Prey, kind of my overall thoughts on that movie, and just kind of the online reaction to Robert Pattinson's Batsuit that we've hardly seen him in. We've seen some other guy in it, some stunt double riding a bike. There's a video online that leaked of him like falling on purpose, doing some sort of stunt. It looks like he might be racing Selena Kyle, Catwoman, for whatever reason, and like by a cemetery. I'm not sure, but there's already sort of lots of memes out there. Why not? Why not pull it up? Let's see if I can find it before I... Patience, please. Oh, sorry. Okay. I found I found what I wanted. Okay, so this is the video of this stunt double driving and then falling for whatever reason. God. Man, the internet does great things, don't they? Oh, that's good. I saw that the other day and I just laughed hilariously. Just like people making these mashups of this guy in the Batsuit falling on his motorcycle. But guys, that's it for this live stream. I'm gonna be trying to do these every weekend. I don't have a set date or time, but if any time frame works for you, just leave it down below in the comment section. Let me know, and maybe I'll try and work around it. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rex Overdrive. I'll see you next time.